The Norfolk Four by John Grisham. Omar Ballard's mother was a black prostitute and drug addict who worked the mean streets of Newark, New Jersey. He never knew his father, who was white. His mother showed little interest in things maternal and almost no interest in the kid. He went from one foster home to another and naturally gravitated to the streets from whence he came. He was an angry kid who blamed his mother for his problems. His temper was explosive and often aimed at women. He found the life of a street thug appealing and quickly became part of the crime and violence of his neighborhood. He loved it all: the drugs and drug dealing, drinking, guns, sex, robberies, shootings, beatings, murders, gang fights, the thrill of running from the police. He got busted a few times for drugs and drunkenness, but nothing serious. Ballard dropped out of school and at the age of 19 left New Jersey. He was broke, unemployed, and as always, looking for trouble. He eventually took up with an old friend from home, Tamika Taylor, an 18-year-old unwed mother of two who lived in a low-rent section of Norfolk, Virginia. The neighborhood was favored by thousands of young sailors stationed at the nearby naval base and was not considered unreasonably dangerous. That changed dramatically with the arrival of Omar Ballard. His first known victim in Norfolk was a young white woman named Melissa Morse. He assaulted her, beat her with a baseball bat, and when her screams got the attention of others, a mob formed and gave chase. Ballard fled and sought refuge in the nearby apartment of Billy and Michelle Bosco, a young Navy couple from Pittsburgh. The Boscos had been married for 6 weeks and just recently had met Omar through friends. They welcomed Omar, offered him a drink, and were having a pleasant visit when the mob appeared outside their apartment. The Boscos could not believe that their new friend Omar would assault anyone, and Billy bravely refused to hand over his guest. The mob dispersed, and Billy later told the police that Omar was not guilty. 2 weeks after he assaulted Melissa Morse, and while Billy was deployed at sea for a week aboard the USS Simpson, Omar Ballard stopped by the Bosco apartment for another visit. It was around midnight, July 7th, 1997. By his own admission, he was drunk, stoned, and looking for sex. He knocked on the door and said he needed to use the phone. Michelle, wearing only a t-shirt and underwear, let him in, offered the phone, and said there was beer in the refrigerator. It was late, and she was going to bed. Omar followed her, attacked her, choked her, and when she was subdued, he raped her. He ejaculated and wiped his penis on a blanket. Then something snapped, and Omar realized he was in serious trouble. To keep her quiet, he decided to kill her. He found a steak knife in the kitchen, and as he was returning to the bedroom, Michelle was regaining consciousness. He stabbed her 3 times in the chest, then left her on the floor to die. He washed his hands in the bathroom, rubbed the doorknobs with his shirt to remove fingerprints, placed the knife by her body, and on the way out went through her purse on the kitchen table and took the cash. Most of the small 700-square-foot apartment was undisturbed during the attack. Michelle, who was working at a McDonald's, had been a meticulous housekeeper. Billy was expected home the next day, and everything was in order. When he found her body around 5 p.m. the following afternoon, their apartment was as neat and tidy as always. A thorough analysis of the crime scene was undertaken, and all evidence, including the victim's vaginal injuries, pointed to a sole assailant who had entered the apartment without force. There were no fingerprints other than a few from Billy and Michelle.